then this and put that in front of it. Alright, what's up YouTube? I haven't made a video in like 2 or 3 weeks. It was, last time I made a video, it was like snowing outside, and I thought that I'd take the opportunity to, film in the snow when everything looked like kind of like a movie. So yeah, I did that. But so I made some warm-up videos, and I don't know, I'm not really feeling that warmed up, to be honest. I didn't really have any plans for like what I wanted to like make on this video, but I seen a lot of YouTubers being like, oh, I just want to make a video that feels like you're hanging out with me. Like it feels like, you know, we're hanging out in my room or my space and we're just having a conversation. So I thought, oh, that's cool. That's a good video idea, but I'm not really great company. Even when I'm drinking, I'm not really like that great company, to be honest. Like, I mean, I like drinking, I like going out, I like having like small talk with people, like the bartender or my dad or whoever. I kind of like having small talk, but I'm not really like that great of a person to like talk to be honest. Like if you're looking for something that's really, if you're looking for someone that's really like super entertaining, like just to talk to, just have a conversation with, I'm not really that person. But yeah, so how I set up this video was there's clothing drawers right here, and this is just a tablecloth that we put on it. I'm leaning the iPad up against like a book, and that book is leaned up against the wall. I'm using this lamp right here to, isn't that kind of cool? using this lamp to kind of like make the video. So yeah, but and I had to take the lamp shade off. I had to take the lamp shade off in order to do that. So yeah, but so yeah, I'm trying to get more tattoos. I have this one, which this was my very first tattoo. I guess I can hold it like that. That was my very first tattoo, is that black spiral right there. And then this one, this red spiral or kind of maroon spiral, and this blue spiral were my second tattoos. And then let's see if I can hike my leg up on here, but I don't know if you can see that, but I got a mushroom right there. I'm not all that flexible, so that was hard. But yeah, I got a mushroom on my leg, which is like, that was my latest tattoo, which I got like, I think early 2024. I think I got that maybe in, I'm trying to think, like maybe, it was when my sister graduated high school. It was like the weekend that she graduated high school I got it, or maybe the weekend after. But so anyways, that was super stressful. Doing that tattoo was really stressful. There's just something about it, because I kind of like, I don't know if everybody gets tattoos for this reason, but like I kind of believe that tattoos can be like therapeutic, and maybe a good reason for doing them is to kind of enhance the connections in your nervous system, like in your limbs, or like wherever you get the tattoo, like the nervous tissue in that area, like you can enhance the connection between that area and like your brain and maybe the rest of your body. And the image that you choose to put on there like can like influence like the because when we think of the nervous system, we just think of like, oh, it's just a signal going from like the brain to the part of the body. But like I think there's probably like there's hundreds of ways to like use our body, like sports, or like making something with our hands, or like cooking, or like, you know, like talents, basically like skills or talents, like, or just like playing, like maybe just going on the trampoline, or like working out, or like playing an instrument. Like there's so many ways to like use like our hands and our bodies and everything, but like and all those activities kind of like enhance the connection between like the nervous system and brain. But like I think tattoos are almost like a shortcut that you can take in order to get like a large amount of stimulus through the nervous system to the brain, and then like enhance the connections in your brain. I think it's kind of like a shortcut, because like let's just say you worked out for 6 months, and let's say in that time you ran like a mile every week, you did 100 push-ups a week, you did 100 sit-ups a week. Let's say you did like maybe like 10 to 20 pull-ups a week. Like basically you have like a basic routine and you were consistent with it for 6 months. You can get the same amount of stimulation running through your nervous system, and you can enhance like mood and creativity and all these things in the brain and in the mind, just by getting like one tattoo. Like one tattoo is pretty much equal to like maybe not 6 months of working out, consistent working out, more like maybe 2 to 3 months of consistent working out, because it is permanent. And so that's basically what it is. It's like, but the thing is like working out is going to benefit you in the long run. Like it's going to benefit your health and everything, like, you know, like 10 years down the line. Even if you worked out consistently for 6 months and then you kind of tapered off, like you worked out less, like you stopped watching like your diet and everything, and then like let's just say like 3 years down the line, like you put on weight and you only walk walk your dogs or like walk around the neighborhood, and then like my dog's over there, so every time I say, you know, WALK, they're always like so I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. Oh, there's the doggy right there. Right there. She's looking outside. She thinks I'm pointing at something. No scrappy images. Maybe there's some out there. I don't know. But yeah, basically like even like for me, I'm just using like myself as an example, but like basically like when I was a kid, like I did swim team. I did swim team for like almost like, I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's 9 years I did swim team. And it wasn't year round, it was like a summer league. So you'd start practicing at the beginning of the summer, and then what we called the very last meet, swim meet, which was like the 12 teams in the league from all around the Bay Area would like meet up at Chabot College. And it was like a really big event, and there was like food vendors outside, not really food vendors, but there was like snacks and like donuts and like, but like people opened up, like it was so cool, like people opened up like amateur kind of mini like taco shops like in their like in their tent, like in these tents that are like big tents. Like people just like put it like a grill in there with like a gasoline tank and like start like cooking like tacos and stuff. And like you go by and like a taco is like $2 or something. Like it was really cool. So, but I'm getting off topic. But basically, like I did swim team. I also played in a basketball league. I wanted to play soccer but never did. I think that I was always active as a kid, like always super active. Like I love to like run away from like people. Like I played so many different like games like tag and capture the flag, and I also played games that are not really like cardio heavy, like hide and seek and stuff. Like I played that, which can also be a really fun game. But I basically played a lot of like games that involve like cardio and running and hiding and trying to like dodge people and stuff like that. And I did that in my own yard, like cause my own yard, and I did it like in I did it at like friends' houses and things like that. And then I also like in PE in school when I was a kid, like elementary school and middle school and high school, like it was all like super active, and I was a very active person like all throughout my school years. I was never overweight. I was always like a good weight. I'm not very tall, but like I was always like a good weight, and I always had like a decent amount of like muscle mass and like strength. Like when it came to like lifting weights and stuff, like I was always like pretty good, and pull-ups and push-ups and all that. And so basically like years later, like I pretty much stopped doing a lot of the activities that I used to do at like 16, and I'm now 25. I just turned 25 in December. So basically like it's been almost 10 years. It's been 9 years since I stopped like a lot of major, like both cardio and physical activity. But I still have decent strength. I have a lot less muscle mass than I used to, but I still have, just a second. But where was I? I mean, I get winded going up and down the stairs. Like that's like a symptom of like not working out in a long time. But basically like I'm technically overweight for my height and for my age. I'm technically overweight, but it's not that bad. It's not something that I have no control over, you know? But like right now I'm 213. I'm 213 pounds, I think, which is like 97 kilograms. And basically like I fluctuate weight like pretty much every week. Like my weight fluctuates. Like it usually, like the highest it'll get is like 213, and then it can drop like pretty significantly, like to like 206 pounds. So that's like that's a good 7 pounds that I might drop in a week. And then it might go back up. It might go back up by a pound or 2 pounds or 3 pounds, or it might go up by all 7 pounds. Like I was 207 last week. I'm 213 this week. So my weight fluctuates, but like it never gets above 213. So anyways, I've gone off. I'm going on a really long side road. I'm not really getting sidetracked. I'm still on topic, but basically what I'm trying to say is like working out consistently for 2 or 3 months, or maybe 6 months, or maybe a whole year, that's going to benefit you in the long run, because the kind of like the connections you make in your brain and in your mind, and the improvements to like mood, like stabilizing mood and everything that you can derive from cardio, physical activity, games, sports, all that stuff, like that's going to benefit you like way down the line in your life. You're going to be 30 years old and you're going to be thanking God that you were on a sports team, that you played basketball for 6 years or 5 years, or that you played tag with your friends like every weekend. Like, you're gonna be really happy that you did that, because like mental health issues typically set in at the end of high school, with that transition into kind of like the adult world, with having to either go to college for 2 to 4 years, and you have to work even harder than you did in high school, or you have to get a job. So that's usually where the mental health issues kind of set in, is around like 17 or 18. And kind of the less like, because really being a kid is about just playing and having a good time. So the less of your childhood you spent being like active, and I'm not saying like video games and TV are bad, because I spent like probably an equal amount of time playing video games and watching TV as a kid. I played a lot of video games. I had the first console I had was the Game Boy, the handheld Game Boy, which was gifted to me by my cousin, who was really big in the video games. And then I had like the long Game Boy that was like this big. I had the Game Boy that was like the one that like flipped and like closed like that. And then I had the Game Boy that was like this, like you play on it like this. Then I had the PSP, then I had the handheld PSP, which was my favorite. It still is my favorite console of all time. I don't really know why I fell in love with that one. I think it's because like my name is Patrick, so like the PSP, just like, I don't know, like the word P is in it, or the letter P is in it, so I don't know. But it was also really cool. It was also a really cool game system, because you could play movies on it. So I had like some Star Wars, I think. I had National Treasure 1, and I had a couple video games on there. I had video games, but I also had movies that I could watch, which was like cool. I don't know if everybody's able to do this, but I'm able to pop my ankle, or like where my Achilles tendon is. Like, I'm able to kind of like flex my foot, almost like you're standing up on your tippy toes, but instead of pushing your weight up, you're kind of pushing your weight back, and you're flexing your foot at the same time, and it like pops like your ankle. And that, I don't know, for some reason that's really satisfying. So yeah. But I'm gonna stop leaning up in front of the camera. What are we at? We're at 18 minutes. So this is gonna be a long video. We're probably gonna go for like 25, like 30 minutes. But yeah, so I guess the main topic of this is tattoos. I guess tattoos are gonna be the main topic of this video. So basically, like, if you did consistent working out for 2 or 3 months, if your childhood was very active, that's going to benefit you like in your 20s and 30s. Hopefully you can put together like a workout routine in your 20s, so you can be somewhat active, as well as like having a job and stuff. Like, hopefully you can be somewhat active, or put on like some more muscle, or lose weight, or whatever your goals are. But getting a tattoo can also like really enhance like the nervous system and stuff. And depending on what image you put in, it'll affect the systems in your body slightly differently depending on what image you put. And so I found a really good substitute for working out. It's almost like I think of it as like supplemental working out. And that's basically just spinning in circles. Now I have to spin the other way. Yeah, I found that spinning in circles, it does get you dizzy, but if you think about it, like, anxiety kind of does the same thing. Anxiety like gets you dizzy. So it's actually a good way to limit the amount of anxiety that your brain and body are going to feel. Because it's almost like, because anxiety, like when it starts and when it ends, you don't really have, you feel like people will tell you like, oh, you don't have control over it. Like you just have to let it like run its course. And I'm like, well, that is true if you're not finding ways to manage it, right? If you're not actively looking for ways to manage it, then yeah, it will be out of your control pretty much. Like it might last 20, 30, 40 minutes, or it might just last 5 minutes, and you might have like no control over it. But like, you don't have to exert that much effort. Like you don't have to work out for like 6 months in order to like get a grip on your anxiety or depression, or you have to like totally change your diet, and you have to like watch meticulously what you're eating every day in order to like get a grip on your anxiety, depression, like, or meditation. That's another thing. People are like, well, actually meditation's pretty awesome, but for me, like, I just say make up your own meditation, come up with your own mantra, focus internally, focus in your organs. People say focus on your body and focus on the feelings, but I think what people don't want to say is that what's actually in your body is just a whole bunch of organs. Your heart is right up here. The camera's flipped, so this looks like my left side and this looks like my right side, but this is actually my left side. This is my right side. The camera is flipped. So anyways, my heart is up here, heart's up here, lungs are right here, stomach is about right here, and then it goes liver. The liver is like really big, it's like right here, liver's right here, and then the gallbladder is under it. It's kind of tucked away like under the liver. And then you have the pancreas. You have the pancreas, which kind of almost looks like, you know, when you take like honey out of a beehive and it's like, it's got all those like octagons. It's like those octagons that are like this, and it's like dripping honey. It's almost what your pancreas looks like. Your pancreas looks like honey out of a beehive. And then you have your spleen. You have your spleen, which is like right here. So you really have to focus on your organs. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna focus on my body. Like, well, what you mean by that is you're focusing on your muscles and your brain and your breathing and your mood, like how you feel, and your skin. That's pretty much, when people say focus on your body, that's what they mean. They mean brain, mood, emotions, feelings, muscles, and skin. That's what they mean. But if you actually want to do the real meditation, like the stuff that's like the real stuff, it's like you gotta focus on the organs, and you gotta like, even if you can't really tell like how your heart is doing, you gotta be like, hey, what's up, heart? How's it going? Or hey, what's up, liver? Like, I know I don't talk to you very often, but like, it's, you know, I just want to say hi. And you know, just a second, Ruby. Come here. I learned this organ anatomy meditation from I think it's called Taoist, or it's spelled with a T, but it's called Taoism. It's this. Here, come here, Ruby. So I learned it from a Taoist teacher who lives in Thailand, and I bought some of his books. And actually, if I can find his book, I think in this session I might also go over the rules for meditation and the rules for spiritual work, which were created by Taoist masters like 10,000 years ago. Or I think over the course of 10,000 years, they came up with these guidelines or rules that talk about like how to properly achieve like it. I don't think it's really in China and Japan. It's not really, and Korea, which is also where Taoism is studied. Like it's not really about enlightenment. It's not about like reaching like ultimate euphoria and pleasure all the time. Which is like, that's just another really like lofty goal that like is really not achievable unless you're completely ignorant about how dark the world can be and how just how dark and psychotic things can become like in our world. Like unless you're completely ignorant of that, or unless your culture doesn't really acknowledge the faults of its people, then it might be easier like to reach like ultimate bliss and stuff like that. But in our culture, it's probably not going to happen for you. Just saying. So anyways, think about getting a tattoo if you're like, oh, I want to start like my workout routine, or oh, I want to start my diet, or I want to start my meditation. It's like meditation's actually a good place to start, because it's like before you start working out your muscles and the rest of your body, and before you start making goals of like, oh, I want to like manage my depression better, and within the next 6 months, like it'll improve from like working out and stuff. Like before you set those goals, like try meditating. And I'm gonna make an inner smile meditation video. I'm so excited because I have like the whole weekend this weekend to like basically do nothing, just like make videos and stuff. So I'm excited to like make some videos and shit. But anyways, think about getting tattoos. What I wanted to say about them, which I guess is how I'm gonna end this video, is that they can help in the short term. Like if you get a tattoo with something that's important to you, it's gonna enhance your brain, but it's almost like you can think of it as like when you get high, like it doesn't last forever, right? The high might last an hour, 2 hours, or 5 hours. And that's why people kind of get addicted to tattoos, is because it's like, it makes you think differently, it makes you creative, whatever. And people just get like, they're like, oh man, I want that feeling like all the time. So they just like keep on coming back. I plan on getting a lot of tattoos, but I don't want to become addicted, which I don't think is really a bad thing, but I don't want to like end up like blacking out like all of my arms and stuff, you know? I don't want to end up like getting like 2 sleeves, like my back and chest done, and then like tattoos all over my legs, and then be like, oh man, like I did my whole body, now I just want to black out my arms like Machine Gun Kelly. Like, I don't want to do that. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna make another video probably right after this, so stay tuned. Peace. All right, another video. You know? Alright. So, the guidelines for Qigong, let's get to them. This book is just falling apart. Oh, literally the pages just came out of the book, pretty much. So. Oh. Okay, well, I just have to keep them in the book kind of like this. But basically these guidelines are really important because they have to do with a bunch of different things that go on in our body. I mean, I don't know how good people's understanding of anatomy was 10,000 years ago. Specifically in the East and China and stuff. I don't know how well they understood, like, I mean, obviously, like, everybody knows, like, there's blood, water, there's fluids. They probably figured out where the food goes. They figured, you know, this is the brain, this is the center of consciousness. Like, they probably figured out a lot of, like, the basic stuff, but, and that's really hard because just think about it. In order to understand human anatomy, you have to work on dead human bodies.
Shiver me timbers.
Or you have to get people to volunteer their bodies at certain ages, you know. To understand how a child's body is different from an adult body, you have to, like, go to a dead body and, you know, do that and look at it. So understanding of anatomy is not really a nice process. But the thing is, like, I think we started doing that. We started dicing up. Just got a notification. We started dicing up, you know, animals first, and the whole point was to feed people, you know, But then, like, once we had an understanding of like animal anatomy, we kind of moved on to humans. And we're like, oh, well, if animals, if we dice them up for eating, but if we can also have them as pets, then, like, maybe we can understand ourselves better if we, you know, if we dice up the human. So no, it's okay. You see Bat? Wanna go say hi to Dougie? Well, it's okay. You guys have to stay inside. Just stay inside. You guys have to stay inside. So, I just had this realization. Like a week ago that this is not going to sound very nice, but psychologists, psychiatrists, and therapists all study human anatomy as a part of their training. And what that means is that they're literally looking at autopsies, they're looking at dead bodies. They're cutting them up. They're looking at dead bodies, looking at anatomy. I don't know exactly the step-by-step process of how they do it. I don't know like in which order they do it, or how they obtain said bodies, but they all have to, I looked it up online, they all have to do that as a part of their training, in order to kind of understand human beings better. Now, I don't really know if our understanding of anatomy can get better, I guess, because we have microscopes, and then we basically try out new drugs and see how they affect cells under a microscope and like all that. But like, honestly, I think it's just like, if that's where they're getting their knowledge from, then I'm like, are you really any different than anybody else? Like, are you any different from a doctor? You know, like, you say your specialty is mental health, but it's like I think just about anybody nowadays with the internet has an understanding of mental health, and through media, like through like TV shows and stuff, like we all gain a basic understanding of psychology. You know, I think like the way that characters interact with each other is teaching us how, you know, how interactions work in our brains and with other people. So like, to be honest, like, to pop my thumbs. Anyways, but to be honest, like, it just seems kind of like a gruesome sort of thing. And I'm like, I'm just wondering if those types of positions, psychologists, therapists, psychiatrists, I'm just wondering, like, do they know that they're going to be studying anatomy in such a raw way? Like, do they understand that they're going to do that, like, when they sign up for that job? Or I'm going to find out more about that. I have a meeting with my, I don't even know what she is. She could be any one of the three. I know she's not a therapist, but she manages my medication dosage and everything. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna ask her, like, well, what the fuck is up with that? see what she says. But yeah, anyways, so that's a little bit about anatomy and whatnot and who studies it. And so now I'm just gonna go over the guidelines for it. Guidelines for simple Qigong. In this section, we will list the 24 rules, kind of like 24 hours. We will list the 24 rules which have been passed down by generations of Qigong masters. These rules are based on much study and experience and should observe them carefully. So, first one, don't be stubborn about plans and ideas. This is one of the easiest mistakes for beginners to make. When we take up Qigong, we're enthusiastic and eager. However, when we don't learn as fast as we would like to, and we become impatient and try to force things, sometimes we set up a schedule for ourselves. Today, I want to make my dantian warm. Tomorrow, I want to get through the tailbone cavity. By such and such a day, I want to complete a small circulation. This is a wrong way to go about it. Qigong is not like an ordinal job or task you set for yourself. You cannot make a progress schedule for Qigong. This will only make your thinking rigid and stagnate your process. Everything happens when it is time for it to happen. If you force it, it will not happen naturally. Don't place. So anyways, that's the first one, and that's a pretty loaded rule right there. I mean, don't make plans. Don't be stubborn about plans and ideas. And I think that's how a lot of us go about working out, dieting, meditation, art, music, poetry. That's how a lot of us go about either taking care of our health or taking care of our mental state, or expressing ourselves through art or something. Like, we all have this plan of like, oh, I'm gonna draw every day for a year or whatever, or I'm going to practice the instrument every day for a month and see how far I can get. And like, we all make this mistake of thinking like, oh, if I plan out ahead of time how much progress I'm gonna make, because if I practice every day, I'm obviously gonna get better. It's like, sometimes it doesn't work like that. You are gonna make progress if you practice every day. Like, you are gonna make some amount of progress, but like, if you thought like, oh, I'm gonna practice making art every day for a year, you may think that at the end of a year you've made this much progress. But depending on, I don't really want to say depending on the time, like how much time you spend and like the quality of the art, but like basically like in reality, how your art looks to other people may only be like this. Like, you're looking at your art going like, oh wow, I made this much progress. When in reality, I'm not saying you're out of touch with reality, but basically like how it appears to other people and how it's actually going to be useful and be applied to other areas of your life is like, you've only made that much progress. And that goes hand in hand with something called linear thinking and nonlinear thinking, which is a concept from Native American Star Knowledge, which is like, linear thinking is where you think that the further you go on like a path, or like the further you get on a task or whatever, the better you're getting. Basically, like the more everything, you're becoming more better, like the further along the path you go. But in nonlinear thinking, which is also circular thinking, which is a lot of people will term it non-duality. Like, oh, this is a non-duality podcast or whatever. Like, what that means is like, not everything we do or think necessarily goes in a straight line, but it goes in a circle, and it's in cycles. Everything happens within cycles, and like, everybody kind of knows that. Like, everybody knows like, well, there's 24 hours in a day. There's day and the night. Women have their cycle every month for a certain amount of time. There's when we eat, our body goes through a cycle of processing the food and then getting rid of the waste. Breathing is kind of like a cycle. There's in and out, and then there's different types of breathing. Not different types, but there's there's deeper breathing, shallow breathing. There's breathing changes when we're asleep.
Guys, remember to consciously breathe sometimes, okay?
Versus when we're awake, there's 365 days in a year. The Earth goes around the sun, and the moon goes around the Earth. Like, we all understand like these kind of cycles. Like, those are all the well-known kind of cycles. But I don't know. I honestly don't know how useful it is to be like, oh well, I'm not going to be like a linear thinker. I'm going to be a non-linear thinker. And it's like, I don't know how useful that honestly is, but it may be helping me in some subconscious way that I'm not really aware of. But anyway, don't be stubborn about plans and ideas. Second one, don't place your attention in discrimination. When you practice, do not place your attention on the various phenomena or sensations which are occurring. Be aware of what is happening, but keep your mind centered on whatever it is you're supposed to be exercising you're doing. If you let your mind go wherever you feel something interesting happening, the chi will follow your mind and interfere with your body's natural tendency to rebalance itself. Do not expect anything to happen, and don't let your mind wander around looking for various phenomena. Furthermore, don't start evaluating or judging the phenomenon, such as asking, is my dantian warmer today than it was yesterday? Don't ask yourself, where's my chi now? When your mind is on your chi, your yi is also there, and stagnant yi will not lead the chi. Be aware of what is happening, but do not pay attention to it. When you drive a car, you don't watch yourself steer and work the pedals and shift the gears. If you did, you drive off the road. You simply put your mind on where you want to go and let your body automatically drive the car. This is called regulating without regulating. So this is something that I've taken to heart. I'm so hungry, damn. I need some food.
All right, I'm gonna make a part 2 to this video.